Welcome back inside the MMA War Room, the front line for MMA analysis. Alongside Srikar, Rajendran, and Chris Shroyer, I'm Sam Corcoran. And today, guys, we have a special guest right below me, T-Money, Terence Murphy. Terence, what's going on, my man? How you doing?
Nothing much, guys. Just zooming in from Long Island here. Look, I'm excited to be here, excited to talk some UFC. Look, it's been a long time since school we got out. We used to talk UFC all the time. Now we're back, just like that Beat the Bookie, the best Beat the Bookie, people would say.
Yeah, this has been
Best
a
Beat the
this is
Bookie.
this has been a long overdue guest appearance. Terence, Srikar, and Chris tried to make some money on UFC 313 back in March. Did it go well? That
I
might
think we went over. We had 300. We won 300.
Yeah.
Oh,
Definitely.
put it that
Definitely.
way. Well, speaking of that UFC 313 card was great. Speaking of another great card, this weekend, guys, we've had back-to-back banger fight night cards on paper. The Atlanta one ended up being as good as we thought, as we discussed. But guys, UFC Baku, Jamahal Hill, Khalil Rountree is the main event. I am super excited for this card. Just looking at this card, I think there is going to be a lot of cards that do not go a lot of fights, I should say, that do not go the full 3 rounds, knockout submissions. I think we're going to get it all, and it's going to be a very intense card. Srikar, I'll pass it to you. Your first thoughts on this card.
Yeah, you mentioned it. Oh, back-to-back banger fight nights on paper. Of course, we can't forget the on-paper aspect of that. But this is a good one. Obviously, I'm a big Khalil Rountree fan, so I'm always going to be excited to see him fight, and especially in a main event setting, 5 rounds against Jamahal Hill. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a banger for sure. Fiziev and Bahamondes, I think, is going to be fight of the night. Like, I'm really excited to watch this one. It's going to be an absolute, like picking that fight apart is going to be so fun to do, because when you look at 2 guys who are that good on the feet, just stylistically, it's really fun. Like, it's going to be fireworks for sure. And then you have Curtis Blaydes and Rizvan Kuniev, which we'll go into.
That's my boy, Kuniev.
We have a little inside joke with Rizvan Kuniev, which we'll explain when we get there. But overall, a good card. And I'm really excited for UFC Baku. They're going to Azerbaijan, which, location-wise is pretty crazy, pretty far out, and a lot better than an Apex card for sure. So we're here.
Yeah, definitely. I think from top to bottom, it's going to be a great card. And like Srikar said, on paper, sometimes you have some stacked looking cards that don't really pan out the way that fans would like it to. But I think that one thing that I initially noticed is there's going to be a lot of fights in different divisions, top to bottom. There's flyweight fights, bantamweight, featherweight, 3 lightweight fights, some heavyweight action, light heavyweight. I'm pretty sure almost every division is covered. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, every single division is covered in the UFC right now. So at this event, I think it's going to be very interesting. From some of the prelim fights, Oban Elliott, I'm a huge fan of Oban Elliott. I'm excited to see what he can do. And even the second fight of the night, Tagir Ulanbekov versus Azat Maksum, I think that's going to be a banger at flyweight. I'm really excited to see where this one goes. And I'll pass along to Terence. T, what do you think?
Yeah, guys, look, the first ever event in Baku. I mean, look, whoever thought that Baku would have been a place for a UFC fight night, if anything? And Dana White said this in a press conference the other day. He was like, some reporter asked him, when would you retire? When would you be satisfied about the UFC? And then he said, when he has an event everywhere around the world, once he checks off all those checklists and he gets them in all different places and spreads MMA, spreads the UFC across the globe, that's the best way to do it. And look, you spreading it across first. I mean, going all over the world now in Baku, pretty much trying to take over in the Middle East over there. Try and get, of course, Georgia has a bunch of different fighters and champions. Marab, a big one there. All those guys from Dagestan, which we don't like the Dagestanis, except for Rizvan Kuniev. Rizvan Kuniev, we love him. But really, I'm so excited for this card. There's been some great cards coming up as well, and some great cards behind us. So I can't wait for what's coming up.
Absolutely. I mean, great main card. Let's just jump right into it. We're going to do the same thing we did last time with Atlanta. Go through each fight, give some analysis, and then make a prediction on how this fight's going to end up. So let's start with the first fight on the main card between Muhammad Naimov and Bogdan Grad, a featherweight bout. Chris, I'll toss this to you real quick. Very intriguing fight early on. 2 guys who haven't had too much experience in MMA. What do you think about this fight?
I think it's interesting. I think it's two fighters that are willing to walk through the fire to get the victory at any means. Bogdan Grad had a very impressive debut against Lucas Alexander his last time out. 15-2, promising prospect. Very bold in what he tries to do in the octagon. He's gonna throw strikes with all of his power every single time, and he's just gonna kind of walk into takedowns. Naimov is a very good wrestler, but Bogdan Grad poses a big threat in the grappling department. But I think that Naimov is going to be able to keep this up and really show his prowess and his style of fighting that will, in my opinion, lead him to the top 15 in the featherweight division. Excuse me. I think that Naimov is going to be able to tag Bogdan when he wants to, but it's not going to be an easy fight for either fighter by any means. I think that it's going to be a hard-hitting, fast-paced fight with a lot of scrambles. I think that, Bogdan, like I said, will have the advantage in the wrestling and grappling department, but, Naimov isn't bad in his own right, because in some of his fights, he kind of telegraphs a lot of his shots. He will shoot from far out, or he won't throw a combo that'll lead to a takedown. He kind of just falls into this mad scramble, but he lands or ends up on top. So it'll be interesting to see. I think Bogdan Grad's a little too experienced to let those type of scrambles happen, where it's just it's just a madhouse in there, and then literally people flipping over each other. But I think Naimov is going to be able to negate that. I think he's going to keep it on the feet. Land powerful strikes in and out, good counter puncher. And I think that Naimov will win by unanimous decision, in my opinion.
Yeah, Naimov should take this by dominant decision. I actually think it's going to be wider than you think, Chris. It's a favorable matchup for Naimov, and yeah, but he should outland Bogdan and potentially. I think you could see him just drop him and maybe get a finish. But you mentioned how he just walks into the fire. That's not good against a guy like Naimov. Like
that's so not good.
Bogdan Grad just doesn't have good striking defense, and if we want to talk about the grappling, yeah, Bogdan Grad could utilize it, but Naimov has a much better frame, so I think he's in a more advantageous position to get top control and work from there. So yeah, I got Naimov by decision or knockout. I'd probably lean towards the unanimous decision, just like you. Mm-hmm. But yeah, look, Naimov is a former Taekwondo champ, so we'll see if that pedigree helps him here.
Yeah, guys, I mean, look, Naimov, I'm going to go with you guys. Naimov, of course, by decision. Seems like the way to go. I mean, just the experience in the UFC alone. Only one fight for Bogdan Grad. You got 5 over there for Naimov, who only lost to Felipe Lima, who's a great fighter in his own right, really. Mm-hmm. And look, he's been just someone that has been crushing it. Someone that, of course, is going to feed off of this. To me, Bogdan Grad is like really no match at this point. Just he'd sometimes make, of course, the questionable decisions. Like, do you think that he's actually a smart fighter? We'll get to the smart fighter. I know that Srikar doesn't believe that one person at the top of this card isn't that smart of a fighter, but it's okay. We're going to go through with that. But look, I think that I'm going to go with all you guys. Really, Naimov is someone that I believe in, someone that I think that he will bounce, of course, try and get his win streak back going after starting off the UFC with a 3-fight win streak. Again, with that loss to Lima, going to continue that win streak now, hopefully make it to 2 after this. I think he will pretty easily.
Yeah, we're going to get a clean sweep here. I got Naimov by decision as well. I think he's going to tire out Bogdan Grad. And I don't think it's going to be a relatively close fight. Naimov is the favorite here, not as heavy as a favorite as the next fight we're going to talk about, which I'll get to in just a sec. But overall, I think this is going to be a decision. It's one of the fights on this main card I'm not as excited for. And actually, it's only one of 2 decisions I have in my predictions for this fight. So overall, going to be an interesting fight, I think. A little boring, but I think Naimov will get a dominant win and move on to 13-3. Now, speaking of the fight that has a much more heavy favor than Naimov, it's the next fight on this card. Nazim Sadykhov versus Nikolas Motta. 10-1-1 for Sadykhov and 15-5 for Motta, the Brazilian. I'll start this one off. I think you look at the differences between these two fighters, and there's one thing that Sadykhov has that Motta doesn't, and that's wrestling. and I got Sadykhov by decision. And I'm not saying Motta's a bad wrestler, but I just think if you look at his fights, he's never won on the ground, which I think is a big thing. Sadykhov has won multiple fights on the ground. So I think at the end of the day, that's really going to benefit him. He's Azerbaijani, so he has the home crowd advantage. I think that's going to play a pretty big factor in this fight, especially where some of these other fighters that these Azerbaijani fighters are fighting are pretty good, and I don't necessarily know if that's going to be a factor. I think this time it will be. Sadykhov by submission here. Terence, we'll jump to the guest first. What you got for this fight?
Look, guys, I mean, I'm going to take the same thing. Like, Sadykhov is just actually someone that has been on a tear recently. He had a draw against Vyacheslav Borshev, but really, other than that, he's had a clean record since his first MMA fight. Like, this is a guy, especially in Baku, in Azerbaijan. Like, this is something that he's going to want to be there, and he's going to want to prove to his fans, prove to everyone that he's one of the top in the division, one of the top lightweights, and to be able to make it up in a really tough division now with a new champion on the horizon coming up. So really, someone with such good wrestling, all these guys from around the area are just like amazing wrestlers, people that could suffocate you, just like Khabib started. He will suffocate and probably be able to make this look pretty easy over Motta, who's been like probably just in the middle range of the lightweight division now, just around the top 15, trying to make his way in there. But to be honest, this division is too strong. It's proved by this guy, a young up-and-comer in Sadykhov, and I'm taking him by decision. Maybe even submission, but I think we'll lean for decision here.
Chris, our other Long Island boy, go ahead.
Yeah, I think Sadykhov's gonna put himself on the map more than he already has, and show the caliber of fighters that come out of Ray Longo and Matt Serra's gym on Long Island. It's absolutely amazing the caliber that they turn out over there in Mineola, New York. But I think that this is not going to go to decision. I think Motta has made his mark in the UFC by being a brawler, just absolute stand and bang fighter. I don't see him being able to contend with Sadykhov's wrestling, like you guys said. Sadykhov's an amazing wrestler, amazing grappler, but that guy has hands. He has hands, and one thing that I've noticed about Motta, and Sam, to your point, I think I can see maybe a few punches, Motta being on the wrong end of a combo, falling down, ground and pound into a submission. Sadykhov by submission is a good way to go. I think that he's going to knock him out. Motta has never been submitted in his professional career. He's only been knocked out, so he's kind of a one-trick pony in that regard, in the way he loses. And I think Sadykhov has all the tools to knock him out, TKO, into some ground and pound. Motta is actually on the other end of one of my, at the bad end of one of my favorite knockouts in UFC history against Manuel El Loco Torres, that he hit him with an elbow. They both entered the pocket. Manuel Torres hit him with an elbow and just absolutely flatlined Motta. That is kind of one of the things that I remember him for, sadly, but he is a good fighter. Just came off a unanimous decision victory over Maysheit. But I think that Sadykhov is just too good. This is his time. He's a very big prospect in the UFC right now, and I don't think he's going to have that prospect label for much longer. I think he's going to burst onto the scene with a TKO KO victory.
I like going last. It gives me a chance to kind of hear all your guys' breakdowns and just see how it compares with mine. And I do agree that Nazim Sadykhov is going to win this fight. But I think the way he's going to go about it, I kind of differ a little bit. I don't even think he's going to use the wrestling. I just think he's going to have to keep it on the feet. Mm-hmm. So I got Sadykhov by TKO because he is the better striker. He's better on the feet. We've seen Nikolas Motta get finished a few times. Nazim will find the chin. He'll keep it at range. Here's the thing, though. Motta did finish Tom Nolan, and I think Tom Nolan does pose some physical comparisons to Nazim Sadykhov, who Motta finished. But, I think Nazim should be okay. But, yeah, I do agree this one won't go the distance. Should be an absolute banger. Either way it goes, I think it'll end in a finish. And an interesting tidbit here, I saw this today, but Merab is going to be in Nazim Sadykhov's corner officially. So
Ooh.
maybe that's another wrinkle to throw in there. It hasn't really mattered much. I mean, Guram Kataladze had Hamzat and Ilya in his corner and lost. But I think Nazim Sadykhov will get this done by finish.
So another clean sweep, 2 for 2. Not as much parity so far. But guys, the next one, this is the UFC doesn't show the odds here, but this right now, odds-wise, is the closest fight on the card. Tofiq Musayev versus Myktybek Orolbai. Two names. I got the pronunciation down very hard. Musayev is making his UFC debut, 22-5, an Azerbaijani native. Meanwhile, Myktybek Orolbai, he's 13-2, but he's coming off a loss. I am super excited for this fight. I think this is where the real action gets kicked off. Last fight I think will be entertaining that we talked about. But I think this fight going to be very close, a very good barn burner. Srikar, I'll start with you. What do you think? Who's coming out on top?
Yeah, we talk about the odds for a lot of these fights on the card. Myktybek Orolbai and Tofiq Musayev is close. Fiziev and Bahamondes is really close. I looked at Rountree and Hill. It's literally even odds. Like they're both minus 110. So there's a lot of like pick'ems here. I'm going to go with Orolbai by decision. Now, he could get chinned by Musayev. But I think if Orolbai establishes the grappling, this guy is still a great lightweight prospect, right? He should show it here. And after watching Patchy Mix, after watching Patricio Pitbull, it's hard to pick a fighter from outside the promotion. I'm just not going to fall for the trap again, even though I do think Musayev will give a better accounting of himself than Pitbull and Mix did. Musayev has lost a couple of fights outside the UFC. He's now past his prime, kind of in his late 30s. This should be a banger, though. Orolbai, he showed a great chin against Mateusz Rebecki, and it should help him here, too. So I'll go with Myktybek Orolbai here.
Srikar, if you wanted to speak for me, you should have just told me beforehand, because you said exactly, almost word for
my
word.
Bad. I hate when I do that.
No, you're good. You're good. I just thought it was funny, but I'm glad we completely agree on this. I have Orolbai by decision. It's going to be a close fight, and at the end of the day, I think the UFC experience that Orolbai has is going to help him win this fight and propel him past that last loss that he had. A tough chin. He's going to stay on his feet. It'll be very close, like we said. I think Musayev will give him a run for his money. But you mentioned it, like these prospects coming in from other promotions have not been doing too well. Someone's got to flip the streak. I think this could be the best shot to flip that streak, an Azerbaijani native, having the crowd behind him. He's in a much better position than a guy like Patchy Mix was at UFC 316. Going up against a ranked fighter, against a prospect is kind of where you want a guy like Musayev to be at. So I really like this fight, but like you said, I got Orolbai by decision.
You guys,
yeah, I mean, I'll take it off. I mean, look, we've said it all. I don't want to be taking the favorites. I was so close to taking Musayev here. This guy is just, he's a finisher. He could chin him. He very well could chin him, like Srikar said. He's a finisher. He's someone that is just has power in his hands like none other. Someone that he has an 82% KO to TKO rate in his whole career. And it's something that I was very intrigued by with a prospect coming off of a loss to Rebecki in Orolbai. I was like, do I take this? I don't think so. I think that the trend's going to continue. I do think that Michael Chandler is really the only one that's going to come in and really surprise anyone from another promotion. I think the UFC is here, and everyone else might just be a little bit lower, even though they're just as good in that promotion statistically. Over here in the UFC, when you have these prospects, a guy like Orolbai who's 27 still, just the ripe age 27, and then you got Musayev who's 35 now, if I'm not mistaken. Like the age will really make a difference here, in my opinion. You're going to see a young, hungry Orolbai and someone who might just be a little bit slower in Musayev. So I'm going to go with Orolbai here, and I think he'll probably just squeak out with a decision victory here. Hopefully he doesn't get chinned, but I do think the grappling will help him out. He just needs to stay out of range there of Musayev.
Yeah, this one was really, really tough for me. It was a lot of time looking at tape, analyzing film. One thing though is you guys all said Tofiq is a prospect. He's not a prospect. This man is accomplished.
Oh,
and
no. We're saying Orolbai is a prospect.
We said
Orolbai
Orolbai.
is a
I
prospect.
said Tofiq. I misphrased what I said. You were right about that.
But
Yeah, Musayev, he is not a prospect. He is a incoming UFC fighter, not a prospect. This is his debut.
like,
That's what I meant. A debutant is the best way to put it. Not a prospect. My apologies.
No, it's okay. We don't gotta apologize here in the war room. It gets heated in the.
Gets heated in the war room. What are we gonna do?
A lot of strategizing and game planning in the war room. But yeah, this one was really tough because Myktybek Orolbai is such a dog, man. His fight against Mateusz Rebecki was absolutely insane. That was probably one of the wildest fights of last year. And the fact that he didn't get finished with his eye becoming a golf ball, his eye socket became a swollen golf ball. It was absolutely so impressive. And arguably, he could have won that. I think he should have won that fight if it wasn't for the amount of damage that he was wearing. I think that really put the judges in a hard predicament. But Tofiq he's proven, man. It's like Terence said, he's a finisher. 83% KO, TKO rate in his 22 wins, 22 professional wins. Being a Rizvan Grand Prix champion is not an easy feat. And also fighting in Bellator, he went 1-1. But one thing that I did notice and is noticeable with Tofiq's fighting style is he's very susceptible to high-level grapplers. And that is what Myktybek is. I think that he will push the pace. And actually this weekend, MMA Junkie did an interview with him. Or I don't know if it was an interview, but it was an article on MMA Junkie. And Myktybek was talking about how this is his whole dream since he was 18. He wants to be the first to bring the title to Kyrgyzstan, which is absolutely that would be
Valentina did it.
Yeah, he'd be the first male to bring it to
Kyrgyzstan. First male. Sorry, first male to bring it to the title to Kyrgyzstan, which would be a great accomplishment for him. And he said he has a surprise. He said Tofiq's old. He's 8 years younger, and he's in great shape. And I really think that that's going to be the reason that he will be victorious on Saturday. And I have Myktybek Orolbai by decision. I don't know if I want to put a stamp on it, unanimous or split, but I think that it'll be a very tough fight. And Tofiq will definitely have the Azerbaijani crowd behind him, which is almost what made me want to take him, just because I think it's going to be a very big night for Azerbaijan. And I think that the fighters are going to get that extra boost just being in their own country. But Tofiq really, he hasn't fought since 2023. First fight in the UFC. Ring rust, also fighting in a new promotion. Sounds like a recipe for disaster. And I think that Orolbai is gonna put himself on the right path and hopefully find the ranking soon.
Myktybek Orolbai, 27 years old. It's going to be a good test for him to potentially. He won't be in the rankings, but hey, you'll come on Sunday. We'll give our matchmaking again.
This will be a great stepping stone towards the rankings.
Yes, and we'll give our matchmaking on Sunday. If he wins this fight, there's going to be some great matches to make for him, from what I can see. But moving on to another fight, the feature bout, guys. You know what, Terence? I'll let you take it from here. Let's get the viewers in on why Rizvan Kuniev for you, and what your passion is for Rizvan Kuniev all about. Let's hear it.
Well, guys, look, this all started from when we had our betting show, and I was trying to find something in this was UFC 313 Pereira versus Hill, and like this was something that. Pereira Ankalaev. And pretty on that card was Rizvan Kuniev versus Curtis Blaydes. Now, everyone was telling me, Rizvan Kuniev, who is this Rizvan Kuniev guy? Apparently, he's been on anabolic steroids, but who cares about that? Then later that time, like right before the card happened, this fight got called off. And now it's on this card right here on UFC Baku. Second time it's gotten called off. And now this is a very intriguing fight. Obviously, not really a young up-and-comer we got in Kuniev, but someone that is now coming up now coming off his win there in the Dana White Contender Series, a KO over Matt Hunter-Kuna. And it's really someone that has been coming onto the scene, now is getting a chance against one of the top heavyweights right now in this generation in Curtis Blaydes. Of course, haven't gotten that illustrious championship yet, but he's always been in that top 5, top 10 range. And he's fought some really, really good guys. Someone that has fought like the best: Tom Aspinall, Jolton Almeida, Sergey Pavlovich, Chris Dawkins, Yarzino Rosenstrike, Derek Lewis, Alexander Volkov, like even more. Like, this guy has been through the best of the heavyweight division, and he's even beaten some of them. Now, am I going to take the guy that I believe in, the guy that I was going to take in the last time before now against Curtis Blaydes in a different timeline? Am I going to take him?
You tell me.
I think I'm going to take Curtis Blaydes. I think it's too good here. I am going to take Curtis Blaydes. I know everyone's upset, but the thing is, if you just look at the career resumes of these guys, like Blaydes is just too good. I tried every scenario, looking at everything on this guy, looking at his face, to his beard, to being like, this guy is relative to Khabib in some way. I don't know, but I just know, like, there was nothing I could find that could really be like, yeah, I think he could beat Curtis Blaydes. Like, I could kind of tell myself, I think Kuniev is going to beat Curtis Blaydes. No, I genuinely think that, yeah, it would be dishonorable for me to go on the War Room right now, my first time in the War Room, and be like, drop a bombshell and be like, Kuniev's going to win. Everyone take my pick. And then everyone lose money because Kuniev probably got knocked out. So I do think Curtis Blaydes is going to win. I'm going to do Curtis Blaydes by TKO and really just walk away from it. Goodbye, Kuniev. If Kuniev wins, I'm riding him throughout all the heavyweights. I don't care. But right now, we're going to go Curtis Blaydes, and hopefully Kuniev proves me wrong.
The shocker of the century. You heard it right there from Terence, that Rizvan Kuniev is not beating Curtis Blaydes. And you know what? Just because of that,
imagine he wins now. Imagine.
What?
Imagine he just wins. Like,
if he wins, there better be something on. I'm not sure if the War Room does the War Room have Twitter?
We got Twitter. Right down below.
We'll take the clip from Beat the Bookie. And I don't know if we'll do it like a full open. We're gonna put it like in our matchmaking episode. If Rizvan Kuniev goes out there and wins,
if Rizvan Kuniev goes out there and wins, I have to do. I feel like I have to do something.
Yeah, I feel like I have to do something too.
I feel like
All right, let's hear. What do we think we have to do? Do we have to come on and all do like a cinnamon challenge or something?
Well, wait, I didn't give my pick yet.
We all need to give.
Oh my god. Here it goes, Rizvan Kuniev.
All right, Chris, let's hear it.
Terence, you said you didn't want to come on the War Room and drop a bombshell. Well,
no way.
The War Room is the perfect spot for bombshells. And you said you're scared that you don't want to lose people money. Well, if you go back to our UFC Atlanta predictions, the MMA War Room is not subject to any
You can't even get it through. We're not subject to any.
We're not responsible for your money. Don't base your financial responsibilities on us.
For any money that is lost as a result of our predictions.
But I'm not a part of the War Room. Everyone's looking at me like the expert here. Yeah, no, you should not look at me as the expert. Do not look at me as the expert.
I mean,
take Curtis Blaydes.
The War Room is all about bombshells. And I am dropping a bombshell that.
Oh no! I should have gone to it first.
Curtis Blaydes will knock out Rizvan Kuniev.
Okay, thank you. Yes, thank you.
I had to build that one up a little bit. Yeah, no, Curtis Blaydes is way too good. I mean, Rizvan Kuniev has never fought anyone even close to the stature of Curtis Blaydes, and Renan Ferreira is the top of the line in the PFL. We saw what Francis Ngannou did to him, and Rizvan Kuniev happened to beat him, but the man was on anabolic steroids.
What if he's on anabolic steroids for this one?
Hey, you know what? If he can get away with it, if there is some testing errors in Baku or anything, I don't know. I just do not see any path to victory for him. I think Terence, you said it best. Curtis Blaydes has fought the best of the best. He's also beat some of the best of the best. And I think that this is just going to be a masterclass and show why the UFC is once again one of the best, not one of the best MMA promotion on earth. And these fighters are the best in the world. And it's hard to come in from another promotion. You might have look at Rizvan's record, 12-1, but Curtis Blaydes, if you cut off a few wins from that, even if he was 12-5, that would still stack up way higher than a 12-2-1.
Wait a second. Chris, you might be onto something. This matchup got moved from Seattle to UFC 313, where it didn't happen, and then now to outside the US in Baku.
Ooh.
Oh, we should all ride Kuniev. We should all ride Kuniev.
we might have cracked the code on what this fight actually means.
Well, I mean, I was thinking that it's very interesting that the UFC would book this fight 3 times in a row. It's almost like it almost made me think, do a double take about wanting to take Blaydes, because I kind of was second guessing myself and saying maybe the UFC knows or sees something in Kuniev that really makes this an interesting match for them, because Curtis Blaydes is very good, and it makes no sense to see.
I disagree.
I'm completely.
I think Blaydes is the person. Blaydes is the fighter, though.
Kuniev literally won. He had to go on Contender Series twice, and they're giving him Curtis Blaydes. They didn't even. It wasn't even a short notice match. It was okay, this is canceled. I want to see this again, though. I'm going to rebook it. Canceled again. You know what? I really want to see this fight. Let's book it for a third time. That makes no sense for someone who had to go through Contender Series twice to even get on the roster.
Here's the thing, though. I think that Blaydes is a fighter that is one of the small amount of fighters that will take any fight. Yeah.
I
and
agree.
when Kuniev's just put on his desk before, and then it's just like, okay, you could do it. There you go. So, I mean, look, I think they're really, like what you said, they're really basing a lot of his stock on the Renan Fajeda fight, and being like, this guy, although was on anabolic steroids, really did him in, did the best of the PFL in, did which Ngannou did. So there is something there. It is a little Dagestani connection. They love the Dagestanis. Yeah.
Say it again?
Like, the politics are because of Ngannou. Like, this all revolves around Ngannou, in my opinion, because like they want Blaydes to obliterate Rizvan Kuniev, because Kuniev beat Fajeda. They want to devalue Ngannou's win against Fajeda in the PFL.
That is true. Yeah,
I think that's also part of it.
I also, another little interesting thing is, I mean, I don't know if you guys can see on your screen in the middle for the viewers where the weight section is, but Rizvan Kuniev tends to fly on the lighter side for heavyweight. So I think that'll also be something.
He's agile.
Yeah, he's agile, but it also goes to show that Curtis Blaydes is a natural 265, and that's just his build, man. He looks like a Terminator.
Oh yeah, he's a big dog, and that's why I'm going to jump on the Blaydes by KO trade here. I think it is a little crazy that the UFC keeps putting this fight together, and it also made me second guess this as well, Chris.
Yeah.
I think one thing that people do forget, though, I'm gonna go back here and go to the grappling. As you can see, Rizvan Kuniev is known for his wrestling, but Curtis Blaydes, despite how many knockouts he has, he's also a decent wrestler, and people forget about that. He wrestled.
He's insane. He's
probably one of the best wrestlers in the weight class.
Yeah,
I know, and people don't give him enough credit for that. I think. I think he just outmatches Kuniev's strong suits to the fullest degree. And I think at the end of the day, I mean, the knockout power is his bread and butter, but the wrestling is also going to keep him in this fight. If, for say, the knockout power is not working against Rizvan Kuniev. If he doesn't win by knockout, he'll win. Yeah, if he doesn't win by knockout, he'll win by decision. I think I could argue that this could be my lock of the night. I'm going to be completely honest with you.
I'm also going to go.
Whoa, we can't do something too harsh here. We can't make it a lock against Kuniev. He could be on anabolic steroids. He could be on.
We don't.
I'm also if he's not on anabolic steroids.
I don't think there's any USADA over in Baku.
Srikar, sorry to interrupt.
I'll go Blaydes by TKO as well. I actually disagree with you, Sam. I think more people give him credit for the wrestling and forget about the hands. You know what I mean? Like he's knocked out Chris Daukaus. Like he's gotten knockouts, but his bread and butter is ground and pound. Like that's where we saw it against Gelton Almeida.
Oh yeah.
I just don't know why you'd give Kuniev this matchup. Like I mean, he's going to lose by ground and pound. Like that is the way he's going to lose this fight. It is heavyweight MMA. But Blaydes will show levels here. Like I think Kuniev is actually better on the feet, but like it's not by much. It's not enough to be like, okay, there's a sizable difference in the feet where I'm going to pick Kuniev to win. And even the fight with Kuniev and Fajeda, it wasn't even like a domination. Like it was closer than people think, and the man was on steroids.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Allegedly.
Blaydes is going to win. We have another clean sweep here.
Another clean sweep going
and
pretty
Fajeda
well.
isn't even on his record. You see that one there next to the 2?
It's a no contest.
No contest.
Yeah, it was a no contest. So
Like-
it actually doesn't even count on his record. So
Yeah.
how much
Crazy work.
Well,
can we
let's
give him?
jump to this is the
Enhance
fight
the skill.
that Srikar, you said, is going to be fight of the night. And I'll start with you. Rafael Fiziev versus Ignacio Bahamondes. I am so freaking excited for this fight. Srikar, why is this fight of the night and who's going to win?
Yeah, this one is big for Fiziev. Tough return at UFC 313. Obviously, short notice, just coming off the couch still ailing from an injury against Justin Gaethje, and he's back with something to prove, especially fighting in Baku where the spotlight will be on him. You obviously don't want to say the card was built around Fiziev because this fight was added after Hill and Rountree was announced as the main event, but people are going to be there for Rafael Fiziev. And there's no doubt about how good and how skilled Fiziev is on the feet. Like elite Muay Thai, really technical, super technical when it comes to striking. But where I will critique Rafael Fiziev is his kicks are great, his combos are great, but I don't think it's the same problem I have with Israel Adesanya. He has not evolved the totality of his game as much as other guys in lightweight, and I think that's where he's kind of fallen a step behind.
Mhm.
Like his takedown defense is really solid, but his cardio, the way he's adjusts on the fly in fights, we saw those both as flaws that got exposed in both Gaethje fights. So I don't know whether his style has fully translated with kind of the next step up.
Mhm.
But then you've got Ignacio Bahamondes. I mean, this guy, he got a submission over Jalen Turner, but he's still like a bit of a wild card to me. Very slick striking. Obviously, he likes to pick you apart with the reach. He's got really good counters. When he's on the back foot, he can become really dangerous. And he's got power, man. He's got power. I'll go back to that finish over Turner because I think the jury is still out on whether that was more about Ignacio looking sharp or Turner just having an off night.
I mean, when you lay it down,
Turner always has an off night at that point.
I mean, even in some of his wins, like there have been cracks. So I'll say that about Ignacio. But I mean, this matchup really just comes down to two things. It's about range and it's about rhythm. If Fiziev can close the distance and kind of force Bahamondes into those little tight like pocket battles, he's going to win. Like he can absolutely win those type of fights. But if Ignacio can keep it long and if he can use his movement to just kind of frustrate Fiziev as the fight goes on, like this becomes very winnable for Ignacio Bahamondes. So the big question is like, which version of Fiziev are we getting? Are we getting the guy who went to war with Justin Gaethje and pushed the pace on him in those first rounds?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it going to be someone that's still shaking off rust from injuries? It's someone that's going to keep fading down the stretch of a fight? Because if he's not 100%, like Bahamondes can just stay on the outside and just pick him apart from range. So I think my pick is going to be a slight lean toward Ignacio Bahamondes by unanimous decision. Just razor close fight on paper. But I think Ignacio just has momentum on his side. He has the stylistic favorability like going for him. So I think he might just edge it out. Give me Bahamondes.
Who wants to go next? Should I take it?
Chris, Terence, you guys want to go?
Chris, take it up.
Terrence, I feel
I'm
like
still actively deciding.
Okay.
Yeah, here, I'll go because I have my decision.
I need to hear. This has been really tough for me. This fight in particular.
This has been tough for me. I think so. I wanted to say Bahamondes by knockout. I'm going to go Bahamondes by decision because Fiziev's chin he has an iron chin, and you saw that in the Gaethje fight. How he just stood in there. Gaethje won that fight pretty convincingly in my eyes, but the fact that Fiziev stood in there, and was that a 3-rounder or 5-rounder? I forget.
3 rounds.
3 rounds.
It was 3.
It was a 3-round fight, and he just stood in there and really just took it, and gave Justin Gaethje a run for his money. And that's part of me wants to pick Fiziev, the local guy coming into Azerbaijan, his home country, the star of Azerbaijani MMA. But Bahamondes, like you said, Srikar, just has all the momentum in the world. And I also think there's a big chip on his shoulder right now, and it's pretty minor. But I think for him it's a little bit bigger. He was ranked after UFC 313. Now he's not. He did nothing to lose that ranking. If I'm Ignacio Bahamondes, I'm taking that chip on my shoulder and proving to the voters, hey, you put me out of the rankings. Well, guess what? Screw you. I'm gonna go beat Rafael Fiziev and jump into the rankings and stay there for a while. And I mean, he's just a lot. How old is he again? I want to say he's like
Ignacio's 27.
He's pretty young.
27. Just an up and coming guy who's already proven so much, and knows how to be active. Fiziev was out for a while and then came in short notice and then gets another fight. I mean, 3 months is not short notice, but Bahamondes has just been more consistent with it, and I think he's just gonna beat Fiziev. He's gonna gas him out. Fiziev will stay in. Don't get me wrong, but I think this is gonna go Bahamondes and I'll put a label on it. Bahamondes by unanimous decision.
Yeah, this is the very tough one. I was offering it up to Terence because Terence has some stake in this fight after Bahamondes secured his first submission victory of his career at UFC 313.
Which is crazy.
Round 1 knockout by Bahamondes on Beat the Bookie, which it should
that was crazy, by the way. It should have been round 1 knock. Whatever, it's fine.
That was just a crazy scramble that led him to throwing up a triangle on Jalen Turner. But this is a very interesting fight for Fiziev because he is on a skid and Bahamondes is extremely hot right now. And I think that this is the perfect fight for Fiziev to win. I'm going with Fiziev. I think it'll be by decision. I think that the elephant in the room for this fight is Bahamondes' length, his reach, his height. It puts Fiziev, who's relatively been small for the lightweight class in other fights in general. Now he's at a huge size disadvantage. I believe that is 7 inches if I can do math, which I guess I can. But I think that you look at the height, the height differential is 7 inches, but the reach is not as large. It's only 4 inches. I think that Fiziev has been put in this weird spot where he, in terms of betting, the last few Gaethje fights, I had Gaethje winning both of those fights. He was put as the favorite for those fights. And then in the middle of that, sadly blows out his knee against Mateusz Gamrot, forced to take some time off. The last fight he had against Gaethje was a great performance in his first performance back from injury. And that was also on short notice. So taking that into account, Fiziev has historically been shown to have the cardio to go late into fights. Obviously, this is going to be a 3-round fight, so that's not necessary. This is, I think this plays perfectly into almost both of their wheelhouses. They are both just absolute dynamites when it comes to standing, striking. There will be no wrestling in this fight at all. If there is, I'd be very surprised. Fiziev has very good takedown defense. I think maybe the only time we will see them hit the ground is if someone gets knocked down and someone goes for ground and pound, or
Fiziev shot a takedown on Gaethje in like the first minute.
I mean,
fight, so
he could go out there and spring Bahamondes. I don't think he's going to want to because I think Bahamondes' BJJ has proven itself, especially with his last fight. So I don't know if that's a place you really want to take it, but dude, Fiziev actually has a granite chin. He can walk through the fire. I think if he just negates the length and really just makes it a dirty boxing fight, a phone booth fight. He needs to make this a phone booth fight, and if he does, he will 1000% come out on top. And you also have to watch out for his kicks, man. He is very powerful kicks, and I think that he can throw. He's almost like Gaethje in the sense where he can throw them from length, but he can also get in tight and throw them. So it looks very awkward when you throw a leg kick at someone from 3 feet away, but it's almost like that chopping leg kick that really wears down fighters' legs. And Bahamondes has great leg kicks, and he's very good defensively as well. But in my opinion, I think Fiziev needs this fight to stop his skid. He's gonna put a little halt on Ignacio Bahamondes' rise in the lightweight division. I think this will be a very good fight. Bahamondes is going to show us a lot and show that he deserves to be in the rankings, even after this fight. But I see a Rafael Fiziev victory by decision. I can't put a stamp on it because I think it's going to be close.
Guys, I've been debating this the whole time. I've been debating this the
I
whole
blabbed
entire
a lot.
time.
I gave you some time.
There's been back and forths, and it all comes down to, in my opinion, just like what Srikar says, what Fiziev are you going to get? And there are shades to me of Tony Ferguson with Fiziev, to where you have a war with Justin Gaethje, and then you're never the same after that.
Okay, wait.
You're
But that wasn't
never the
as
same.
bad as what Tony went through.
But
I know that. I know.
it was also on short
Right
notice.
now,
Like, the guy,
it is a short
was out of
notice.
camp.
No, but this guy had a war with Justin Gaethje, and then right after that gets knocked out by Gamrot.
But that was
then
he got injured.
I know he got injured there. He got injured there, but like then you come back from the injury and you're still not like that's very demoralizing for someone. Now it's something where it's like you're off for that long, you're there on short notice. This is like Ignacio Bahamondes is on just a super hot streak right here. Someone that has 3 straight first-round finishes. 3 straight first-round finishes in the UFC. And he looks like there's no slowing down for this guy. And you fight this guy like Fiziev, who has had the experience. And to me, I think it will come down to experience. Mm-hmm. And as much as I was thinking about Bahamondes, I wanted to go with the younger guy. I'm going to go Fiziev. I am going to go Fiziev. I think that the fans there in Azerbaijan are going to be buzzing to see this guy fighting there. He's going to have the crowd, like, there's going to be a crazy crowd from when he comes out.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, mention it. It's going to be electric when he comes out with his hat and everything, what he's doing. And he's going to be probably pumping up the crowd. That's just his personality. He's going to be going there and he's going to be feeling it. He's going to be feeling it. He's the guy that feeds off the energy. He feeds off of it. And I do think he's going to go in there. And I'm going to say that it's going to be very tough. And what Chris said, if he has to be fully healthy, obviously, and it looks like he hopefully is. Mm-hmm. And he's going to go in there. He needs to stay in the pocket. He needs to stay in the pocket, and he needs to keep throwing in the pocket. Because if he gets out of range, if he gets in range of Bahamondes, he's going to get pieced apart. Yep. It's done.
It's a phone booth.
It's done. Phone booth fight, just like Chris said. Just took it out of my mouth, and it was like I was thinking about how that could end up. And with Fiziev also having an iron chin with that, also being it's tough. You take the young up-and-comer that's surging, or you take the guy that's on a skid that you hope bounces back. I will take Fiziev. I'll bite. I'll take Fiziev. Say he bounces back. Say that I'll put a stamp on it, and I'll say Fiziev by knockout.
Ooh, okay. An interesting one.
I'll say Fiziev by knockout, and I'll say in the third round knockout for Fiziev.
I think if it was going to be a knockout, it would be third round. So I don't hate that pick at all. It's interesting though. You look at Bahamondes has never been knocked out in his career. I will just say that. So that would be a big. I mean, if the crowd would go absolutely berserk.
I think because here's the thing. Bahamondes has never been knocked out. Again, a shorter-esque UFC career as of right now. But Fiziev, He has the experience. He's went up the lightweight ranks already. He's fought Justin Gaethje, who is arguably one of the top lightweights who has not won a championship. And it's like really like you think about it and you're like, if you see those two together, and can you see Bahamondes? In my eyes, can I see Bahamondes beating Justin Gaethje or having a similar fight like Fiziev had with Justin Gaethje?
I was gonna say
Maybe.
if Fiziev is gonna knock out Bahamondes, it'd be in rounds 1 or 2, just because his cardio as the fight goes on will decrease.
I think that they're both gonna kind of be whimpering out at the end,
Okay.
and by the end of it,
It could happen.
But here's the thing, Bahamondes, we really like Bahamondes has been like surging with first round knockouts lately. We have and first round submissions. I think if anything happens, maybe it will happen in that first little bit for Bahamondes. But I think as the fight goes on, we've seen Fiziev get a little bit tired, obviously, in like the fights against Justin Gaethje and Gaethje picking him apart after that. But in this case, I think because there's like this is all going to be on the feet. This is something that Fiziev is now used to. Fiziev went to 2 wars with Justin Gaethje, one on short notice. Of course, he got injured against the fight against Gamrot, but pretty much just fighting, just standing up, really going after it. He took a couple takedown attempts, but that's pretty much it. It was pretty much all on the feet. And I think he's used to those fights now. He's going to have another barn burner in this one. And I think I believe in him. I believe in him going into this and taking in that 3rd round knockout.
Big barn burner here. Should be a fantastic fight. I also agree with you, Srikar, that this will be fight of the night when it's all said and done. Now on to the main event in the light heavyweight bout. Jamahal Hill versus Khalil Rountree, number 4 versus number 7. Rountree the favorite going into this one.
No, it's even odds.
Oh, UFC has minus 155
But
right now.
DraftKings
DraftKings
is saying even odds.
Yeah, DraftKings.
Oh, wow.
Is
So this is going to be another toss-up. Guys, I'll be honest. Terrence, you were saying you were struggling with this Bahamondes fight. This one I am really struggling with.
This was my easiest pick of the night.
Let's hear it, then, Chris. Take it right off the bat.
Khalil Rountree by demolition, knockout, anything. Throw the kitchen sink at the wall. It'll do the same thing that Khalil Rountree can do to Jamahal Hill. Absolute demolition.
No analysis needed for that. Wow.
No analysis. It's just gonna be demolition.
Go next.
Yeah, go ahead.
Chris, how's he gonna win?
Knockout
by demolition.
KO. Yeah, demolition. I said you can throw the kitchen sink at the wall, and it'll do the same thing that Khalil Rountree is about to do to Jamahal Hill.
What round are we putting it in?
It's gonna be early.
Man.
I think Jamahal Hill is still very much a problem at 205. He's obviously had some tough losses, but sharp boxing, like really technical. He moves well. He puts the pressure on you. He's not a one-punch knockout guy in every fight, but unless your name is Johnny Walker. But I mean, his power, it really tends to just sneak up on people. Like he finds his windows really well, and he just capitalizes on it.
Yes, definitely.
Obviously, grappling's not his strong suit, but this isn't going to the ground. His takedown defense usually holds up anyway, and he can really push the pace for 5 rounds if needed. We saw what he did to Glover Teixeira. He was literally hunting him down for 5 rounds. Now, across from him, obviously, is Khalil Rountree. He's looked like a completely different fighter since earlier in his career, back in 2021. Like that version of Khalil, it seems, has finally put all the pieces together. The Muay Thai has always been there. Like at the top of this card, we're seeing a lot of Muay Thai. But now he's a lot more patient. I think he's selecting his shots better. His IQ in the octagon is definitely better. Like the guy is dangerous. Like I'm not going to be one of those people that says, oh, he fights like he owes people. Like I feel like that is thrown around so much. But he does throw with intent. He throws with a lot of intent. His rhythm, he's kind of figured it out. And look, he made Alex Pereira work harder than anyone expected. And that includes Ankalaev. Like I still think he gave Pereira like his toughest, most grueling fight in the octagon. But even though both guys are coming off losses, I think Rountree gained more from losing. Hill, he just got flatlined by Pereira, and then he just struggled badly with Yuri. And that's got people wondering, like, how much tread is left on the tires. Like, you think about mentally, defensively. Roundtree, on the other hand, he went toe-to-toe with Pereira and came out of it looking more dangerous than ever. So I guess on the feet, I want to see Roundtree use his leg kicks a lot more than he did in the Pereira fight, because that could be a huge factor against Jamahal Hill. You just chip away at his base, and Hill always likes to just go forward, and then like he just swings. Like, leg kicks are the best way to counter those. So throw leg kicks, and also just keep him guessing. Like, if Khalil can just threaten the knockout shot, Jamahal Hill, if his rhythm is off, is a completely different fighter. If he's comfortable, like, yes, he's going to like work his combos, but this fight is going to stay standing the entire time. Neither guy is going to look to shoot. And if it somehow ends up on the mat, I'll just throw in that. Roundtree will be better on the mat than Jamahal Hill. Like, he just will. So Khalil Rountree, I think, wins this by TKO. I'll say he does it in round 3. He's just in a better place right now, man. Like, mentally, I think physically he's better, and for this matchup's purposes, I think stylistically it favors him as well.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with both of you guys here. I got Khalil Rountree. Chris, I'm going to disagree with you that this is going to be a demolition. I
meant the finish is going to be a demolition.
Okay, so that makes more sense. I mean, if Khalil Rountree is going to finish, he's going to finish in a demolition. We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
But I think this is going to be a very close fight, and I think this is going to be decided, Srikar, after round 3. You mentioned round 3. I think it's going to be round 3 or after. I think the first 2 rounds are really going to be both of these guys trying to tire each other out and land the better punches and kicks and whatever it be. And then by round 3, you're really going to see you're going to really see one guy be gassed out and another guy kind of less gassed out. We'll put it that way. If they're not like still doing 100%, then they're going to be less gassed out than the other guy. I think that's going to be Khalil Rountree. But do not discredit Jamahal Hill. I will say that I was this close to picking Jamahal Hill. He's lost. Both of them lost to Pereira. One guy clearly outperformed the other when it came to that Pereira fight, and that was Khalil Rountree, which I agree, Srikar. That was the toughest fight that Pereira's ever had, and I think that was more just a stylistic thing. And then against Yuri Prohaska, it was kind of surprising. People were doubting Yuri. I was like, Yuri's going to win that fight, and he did. Won it pretty handily. Good 3-round fight there that didn't even go all 3 rounds, but I think people are doubting Jamahal Hill when it comes to what he can do. He's a former champion. He's lost to 2 of the best light heavyweights in the division. And I mean, his time for rebound's coming soon. I think if he loses to Rountree, I think he will rebound very quickly and get a win after this, or he'll beat Khalil Rountree this time. I don't think you see a world where Jamahal Hill just falls off the face of the earth. And I will put it there that, yeah, again, if he loses to Rountree, he's going to fight someone that more down in the rankings, and I think he's going to win. Or if he beats Khalil Rountree, he stays up. But I think Khalil Rountree is due to finally leapfrog into the top 5. Like you said, Srikar, kind of in a better place mentally, physically. I got Khalil Rountree winning this by TKO. It's going to go 3+ rounds, though. I don't know what the over-under on rounds is, but I feel pretty confident that it'll be over 3. We'll put it over 2 rounds, I guess, because it's not going to end in the second round. 3rd,
Really?
4th, or 5th, though.
Yeah, I mean, look, Jamahal Hill was someone I really liked when he was coming up. I mean, he had great fights during, like, his main come up was during those, like, Apex days. Jimmy Croup, Johnny Walker, when he's coming up, screaming, being like, this is my time. When he was showing, like, as the young kids say, a lot of aura. He showed a lot of aura at a point. And now that aura has faded a bit with 2 straight knockout losses. And the aura is also because he has also been complaining about that stoppage with Pereira and being like how Herb Dean got in the way and how maybe he wouldn't have gotten knocked out. But
Herb Dean did not get in the way of that. What are we talking about?
Yeah, I think through that and the complaining, everyone's been on the anti-Jamahal Hill train. Ever since he lost to Pereira and how Pereira took the loss, everyone's been on the hate Jamahal Hill train. Now, of course, he's been lost to, he just got chinned by Yuri. And Yuri, of course, looks like he's now stuck in that upper echelon area where Pereira's also in weight, and now Ankalaev's there, and will Yuri get the next title shot? But now you have that little upper echelon of the light heavyweight division, and then you got this area, which is Jamahal Hill and Khalil Rountree, who are about to go up. And these guys have been talking about each other for a while now. And I was talking about aura before with Jamahal Hill. His goes down, and Khalil Rountree has gone up. Gone up a lot. There's a lot of aura around Khalil Rountree, especially with his new shorts, too. He's like, everyone's
so
showing them.
by the way.
They're so sick. Like, they're so cool.
Let me just zoom in on these
like,
real quick that we can see. I mean,
there's like a
these
yin
are
and yang
amazing.
with it. There's like so many different like hidden messages about how he's calm outside the octagon, but in the octagon he's a killer. Different sides of him, and he's really embraced himself and really figured out, like what Srikar said earlier, he's really figured out who he is as a fighter. The old Khalil Rountree, the one that lost to Inkutilaba, that guy ain't here anymore. No way he's losing that. No way he's losing anymore. Like, this guy has really figured it out. And the way he uses his size to really get into people's face is really like astonishing. Like, Jamahal Hill's someone that really works from range, while Khalil Rountree is someone that can, just like with Fiziev, will get in the pocket with you, and he'll swing with you. Made Pereira a little bit uncomfortable, and now I think he'll do the same thing to Jamahal Hill. So what's next for Jamahal Hill? I think he'll be fighting Rizvan Kuniev next after Khalil Rountree. Probably knocks him out with a round 2 TKO right here.
He's gonna move.
We'll do 2. I think Rountree is just someone that has his hands are going to be, look, the hands sneak up on you like Jamahal Hill. Well, there's no sneaking up on Khalil's hands. He's just going to hit you like a train. Like, that's it. There's no in between there. There's no sneaking up. He'll be like, oh, okay, nice. Jamal's going to give him like a nice little jab. Then there's going to be an overhand from Khalil, and he's going to be like, he's not going to know what hit him. And soon you might be seeing Jamahal Hill's like chin a little bit wear down, especially. Like, you're going against 3 of the top strikers. Pereira, who's got nuts hands. Yuri, who's got nuts hands, who's a known knockout artist. And then you're going with Khalil Rountree, who's got hands of steel. Jamahal Hill's chin is going to be absolutely broken. It's going to be tinfoil after this. Because he's not going to be able.
No, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just going to say that, like, when you look at Jamahal Hill's record, his losses are only to the most technical and best strikers that you could possibly face in the division. And I love Jamahal Hill. I think that
and Paul Craig.
And Paul Craig. And I mean, Paul Craig pulls out some of the most inconceivable and just wild wins that you would ever see in the UFC. But, I mean, I love Jamahal Hill just because of what he's done for the UFC in terms of putting Contender Series on the map and actually showing that as a viable way of getting into the UFC and having success. He was the first ever UFC champion to go through Contender Series, and that, I feel like, opened a door for more fighters seeing that as an actual option. But when I look at his record, every single time, I just feel like I'm never too impressed. Like, I look at it, and Jimmy Crute, obviously, been in the UFC for a long time. All of his wins in the UFC. Darko Stosic. I haven't heard that name in so long. He hasn't been in the UFC for years. An old Ovince St. Preux by knockout. That was Ovince St. Preux's OSP's 40th career professional MMA fight. He lost to Paul Craig. He beats Jimmy Crute by knockout. He beats Johnny Walker, and Johnny Walker kind of just ping-pongs around with wins and losses. He beat an old Thiago Santos, who went to the PFL after that. I believe he's still there, but that was on his way out of the company. He beat a 42-year-old Glover Teixeira, and obviously that was a dominant win, but it was a 42-year-old Glover Teixeira.
Yeah.
And he loses to Pereira and Prohaska, and I just think that Khalil is he's like Pereira. He's one of the most technical strikers you'll ever face in your life, and I don't see Jamal posing any sort of threat on the feet. And I mean, obviously he has power, but I just.
But you can say this. You could say the same thing kind of about Khalil Rountree, being like, This is a guy that, of course, on a pretty significant KO streak, other than he had a split decision victory over Dustin Jacoby, like not too long ago.
Which he lost, if we're being real.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so he hasn't had the best resume either. Compared to this is like two guys that have made their living off of pay. Like the light heavyweight division has steadily declined from the golden days. And to be honest, these two are the prime examples of two fighters that have fought off the corpse of that old golden age division. Like, these are two fighters that have really just went through all those old guys, all the fighters that you would say that put up some solid UFC wins and have some UFC fights under their belt, UFC wins under their belt, but fighters that are pretty much just journeymen at that point. And look, the only one, Jamahal Hill, has really gone to the precipice of that, was the champion, beat the champion. But Khalil Rountree at the same time, would you say he has more technical striking, better striking? I think it's pretty much a situation of you can't really look at the past fights because they both came up in a similar way. I think you got to look at it as like, what have you done for me lately? And lately, you see Khalil Rountree getting better, and you see Jamahal Hill maybe getting worse. Maybe not worse.
I think he's just falling out a little bit. He's plateauing.
For sure.
Yes.
For sure.
I agree. And I think like that's just pretty much what it comes down to is there's a guy that in Khalil Rountree who's figured out his stuff, and Jamahal Hill is kind of losing it a little bit.
I will say, I think the winner of this fight, they're going to be one away from a title shot. It'll either be probably, depending on timeline, Olberg, Yuri Prohaska, or Dom Reyes will be a very interesting.
Tom Reyes.
It's going to be Dom Reyes.
It has to be. If Dom Reyes becomes UFC champion, all right is done in the world. All right is done. Like that fight would. And there, you might as well make that John Jones victory a win. You might as well.
There you go. You might as well. But UFC Baku Saturday night during the day. It's weird with the time zones.
During the day for us.
During the day for us, but Saturday night for those in Europe and Azerbaijan should be a banger card. Hopefully, a little bit better than Atlanta. Terrence, thank you again for joining. Absolutely.
Thank you guys for having me on.
Totally, dude. Absolutely love having you on. That'll be it. We will be back on Sunday with matchmaking for the winners of the fight. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you guys on Sunday.